Hello. Come in gently now. You're here, and that is enough. Whatever the day was, whatever it asked of you, whatever it left unfinished, you can set it all down now. You can put it right here, just outside the door of your mind, and leave it there for tonight. It will still be there in the morning if you need it, but right now, you don't need any of it. Right now, all you need to do is breathe. Just breathe. In slowly, and out slowly, and again, in and out. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw go soft. Let your hands rest exactly where they are, without holding anything. You are safe tonight, completely safe. Whatever room holds you, whatever blanket or pillow surrounds you, whatever quiet is around you now, you are held by it. You are supported. You are not alone. Tonight, I am going to take you somewhere peaceful. We are going to walk slowly through some of the quietest, gentlest moments in all of human history. Moments where a man sat with people under the open sky, beside a lake, on a hillside, in the shade of an old tree, and spoke to them about things that have never stopped being true. This is the story of the teachings of Jesus, not a sermon, not a lecture, not a lesson you need to follow or remember, just a gentle drifting through the words and the places and the atmosphere of some very still and very beautiful moments. You don't need to hold on to anything tonight. You don't need to understand or analyze or store away. You can just let the words move over you, the way warm air moves through an open window on a summer evening. Let your eyes stay closed. Let your breath be slow, and let the story carry you where it goes. We are already on our way. Section 2. Quiet Moments with Jesus Walking Toward the Lake. Imagine a morning in Galilee, not a dramatic morning, just an ordinary morning in an ancient, beautiful place. The air is cool still, the way early morning air is cool even in a warm country, carrying the faint smell of water from the lake that is not far away. The path underfoot is dry earth, packed smooth by years of feet passing over it, and on either side of the path, the ground is covered in low scrub and wild grasses, and in the spring, the kind of wildflowers that grow without anyone planting them, simply because the ground is good and the rains have been enough. Red anemones, small white flowers with soft petals that barely hold themselves upright in the breeze. Pale blue things that open when the sun comes. The path leads gently downward, following the slope of the land toward the water. And somewhere on this path, unhurried, moving at the pace of someone who is simply walking and not trying to get anywhere in particular, is Jesus. He's not alone. He rarely was. In those years of his ministry in Galilee, there were usually a few people with him, sometimes a handful of disciples, sometimes a small group that had come to listen or ask questions, or simply to be near him, sometimes just one or two people walking alongside him in comfortable silence. But in the early mornings, there were quieter moments. Moments where the pace slowed and the conversation fell away, and everyone simply walked together, watching the sky lighten, feeling the cool air, listening to the birds. Galilee in the morning is full of birds. The hills around the lake hold dozens of species, and in the early hours they make a sound that is layered and rich and continuous, like a conversation being had by a very large community that has been awake since before the light came. Jesus heard these birds every morning. He knew this landscape the way you know the face of someone you have looked at for years, every fold of the hillside, every place where a particular wildflower grew, every direction from which the wind came off the lake, every quality of the light at different hours. He loved this landscape. You can hear that in the things he said years later that were written down, the way he talked about wildflowers and birds and farmers scattering seed, the way he knew how rain falls, and how the sun rises on everyone equally, good and bad alike. These were not abstract illustrations. They were the things he had looked at his whole life. Let yourself be on that path now. The cool air, the birds, the sound of the lake, faint but present, a low soft shimmer of water sound somewhere ahead, the path winding gently downward, and somewhere just ahead of you or beside you, someone walking slowly through this beautiful morning without any hurry in them at all. Just breathing, just walking, just here. You can be that way tonight. Just here. Just breathing. Nothing to hurry toward. The village of Capernaum. The village of Capernaum sat on the northern shore of the Sea of Galilee, about 2.5 kilometers from where the hills began to rise toward what would later be called the Mount of Beatitudes. It was a modest place, small and unpretentious, and built entirely from the local black basalt stone, a volcanic rock that the region had in abundance, and that absorbed the heat of the day and released it slowly through the cool of the evening. The houses were simple, low and thick-walled, built in clustered groups around shared courtyards. Extended families lived in these clusters, sharing the central yard where there would have been a millstone for grinding grain, an outdoor oven, the small constant sounds of daily life, chickens moving through the dust, the smell of bread baking, a goat somewhere in the tangle of lanes. The streets between the house clusters were narrow and unpaved. In summer they were dry and dusty. In winter they were soft with mud from the rains. The lake was close enough to the village that you could smell it, that particular smell of fresh water and reeds and the things that live in water. On the nights when the wind came off the lake, this smell would move through every lane in the village, cool and alive. In the mornings, the fishermen would come back from their night's work, their boats drawn up on the shore or tied to the modest stone jetties, the catch spread on low racks to be sorted and preserved, the nets spread to dry, their weights making small clicking sounds in the breeze. It was into this quiet, modest, deeply ordinary place that Jesus came and made his home. Not a grand place, not a city, just a village of perhaps 1,500 people, built of black stone, sitting beside a beautiful lake, smelling of water and fish and wood smoke, and the particular dusty warmth of a Galilean summer. He fit here. He was not out of place in a fishing village. He understood work done with the hands. He knew what it was to be tired at the end of a long day. He knew the rhythm of a community that woke early and moved through the hours of light and rested when the dark came. He sat in people's courtyards. He ate at their tables. He asked questions and listened to the answers with full attention. He was simply present, the way very few people ever manage to be simply present, without some part of them already somewhere else. Let yourself feel that now, just present, just here. In this moment, not somewhere else, not thinking about tomorrow, just here, the village around you, the lake nearby, the cool stone walls, the smell of the water on the morning air, just here, just resting. You are safe. There is nothing you need to do. By the shore, Jesus often went down to the shore of the lake, not to fish, not to do anything in particular, just to be by the water. There is something about water that settles the mind. Something about the way a lake sits in its basin, reflecting the sky, moving very gently at the edges where the small waves come in, making a sound that is both constant and always slightly different. He would sit on the rocks or on the pebbled shore, watching the lake. The lake is long and relatively narrow, shaped roughly like a teardrop. From the northern shore where Capernaum sat, you could see across to the hills on the other side, the hills of what they called the Decapolis, steeper and more dramatic than the gentler slopes on the western shore. In the mornings, those eastern hills would catch the first light and glow a pale gold, while the western shore was still in shade. In the evenings, it reversed, the western hills going pink and amber, while the east was already in shadow. The lake was always doing something with the light, always catching it differently, always reflecting a sky that was never quite the same as it had been the day before. Jesus sat by this water often, sometimes alone, sometimes with a few of the disciples nearby, also quiet, also watching the water, in that comfortable, shared silence that comes when people have spent enough time together that they don't always need to speak. And sometimes, sitting by the water, he would speak, not loudly, just quietly, into the air between them. And the things he said beside that lake have lasted 2,000 years. Let yourself be at the water's edge now. The pebbles cool beneath you, the lake spread out before you, the sky reflected in it, the small waves coming in and going out, in and out, in and out, like breathing. Just this, just the water and the sky and the quiet and the soft sound of the shore. You don't need to think about anything. There's nothing to think about, just the water, just the sound of it, just rest. Section 3. The Teachings. On the hillside, one morning, at a time when the crowds had been gathering around Jesus for days, he went up into the hills above the lake. Not far, just high enough that you could turn and see the whole northern shore spread out below you, the lake glittering quietly, the village of Capernaum nestled against the water, the hills on the far side reflected in the surface. The hill was gentle, its slopes covered in soft grass and the spring wildflowers that grew in such abundance in Galilee at that time of year. Red anemones, wild mustard with its small yellow flowers, pale cyclamen tucked into the shade of rocks. A cooling breeze came off the lake and moved through the grass, making it ripple like the water it had come from. Jesus sat down. This was how teachers sat in those days, before speaking. Sitting was the teaching position. It said, I am here. I am not going anywhere. What I'm about to say is worth taking time over. The people gathered around him on the hillside. They sat on the grass too. Some of them had children with them who settled against their parents' sides. Some of them had been walking since early morning. They got comfortable. The lake was below them. The sky was above them. The breeze moved through the grass, and Jesus began to speak, very quietly, not from a great height or with great ceremony, just a man, sitting on a hillside, speaking gently to the people gathered around him. He began with something that sounded like a series of blessings. Blessed are the gentle ones, he said. Blessed are the ones who grieve. Blessed are those who long for goodness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Each one landed quietly, not with a shout, not with urgency, just quietly, like stones placed one by one. And the people on the hillside listened. The breeze continued. The wildflowers continued. The lake below went on being the lake, steady and silver in the morning light. And those words went into the people who heard them, into something quiet and deep, the way seeds go into good soil, not making much noise about it, just settling in. Let yourself be on that hillside now, the grass soft beneath you, the breeze coming off the lake, the smell of the wildflowers around you, the warmth of the morning beginning to come through, and in the air around you, those words settling, gentle and steady, like something that was always true, just being said out loud, for the first time, and the last time, and every time in between. You can rest in them. They are not going anywhere. Do not worry. On the hillside, or perhaps on another day, in another quiet moment by the water, Jesus spoke about worry. He did not speak about it the way a doctor might, with clinical language and steps to follow. He spoke about it the way someone speaks when they themselves know what it is to walk through a hard world and trust in something anyway. He pointed at the birds. The birds of the air, he said. Look at them. They don't plant crops or harvest grain or store things away in barns. And yet they are fed. Every single day, he may have pointed up at that moment, at the sky above the hillside, where birds were moving on the warm air, riding the updrafts from the lake, their wings barely moving. Are you not worth more than they are? He asked, and there was a pause. Not a dramatic pause, just the pause of a question that doesn't need answering right away, that can sit with you for a while, that you can carry home and think about in the evenings. And then he pointed at the flowers. The wild flowers of the field, he said. Look at how they grow. They don't labor. They don't spin thread for cloth. And yet there is not a king in all his finest clothes who is dressed as beautifully as one of these. The hillside was covered in them. The listeners could look down and see them everywhere, red and white and blue and yellow, simply growing, simply being exactly what they were, not worrying about whether they were beautiful enough, not working at it, just growing in the good soil, in the good light, and being, simply and completely, what they were. This is how your heavenly Father thinks of you. Jesus said, you are worth more than the birds. You are more precious than the flowers. And if the birds are fed and the flowers are clothed without a moment of worry on their part, then perhaps you too can be held by something that already knows what you need. Perhaps you can let go of some of the carrying, some of the planning, some of the anxious holding on. Not all at once, not forever, just for tonight, just for this moment. You can let the carrying go just for now. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are seen. You are known. You are held. And there is nothing you need to figure out right now. Just breathe. Just rest. The wildflowers are growing in the dark hillside fields right now without any effort. And you can rest without effort too. Just let go. Just let your body be heavy. Just let your thoughts drift and soften and fade. You don't need them tonight. Everything is being held. Everything is taken care of. Just rest. The sparrows. There was another time he talked about birds. A different moment. A different day. He said something very small and very true. He said that sparrows are sold in the markets for almost nothing. 2 for a single coin, 5 for 2 coins. They are the cheapest, most ordinary things in the market. No one thinks much about sparrows. And yet, he said, not one of them is forgotten. Not one. Not the smallest, most unremarkable one. Not the one that lands in the dust and is ignored by everyone passing by. Not one of them is outside of the notice of the one who made them. And then he said, the very hairs of your head are counted. Every single one. You're not a general approximation of a person. You're not lost in the crowd. You are known precisely. Every detail of you, every particular thing, known. And therefore, he said, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. You can let those words be present now. You don't have to shout them or claim them with great effort. Just let them be quietly here, in the same room as you, while you rest. Do not be afraid. You are not overlooked. You are not forgotten. Every hair on your head, every quiet worry you carry, every tired part of you, known and held. Sleep now. There is nothing to fear tonight. Nothing at all. Come to me. There was a moment when Jesus said something that has stayed in people's hearts for 2,000 years. He said it simply as anything he ever said. Come to me, he said, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Those words were spoken to people who were genuinely tired, not tired in a small way, tired in the deep way that comes from carrying things for a long time, from working hard with few resources, from living in an occupied land, under heavy taxes, with the constant weight of trying to be good enough, trying to follow every rule, trying to earn some sense of worthiness that kept feeling just out of reach. He spoke to people who were exhausted. He didn't tell them to try harder. He didn't tell them to do more. He said, come, Just come, and I will give you rest. Rest is something given. In that invitation, not something earned, not something achieved through enough effort, just something offered, freely, without conditions. Rest. That offer has not expired. It is still open. Right now. Tonight. You don't have to do anything to qualify for it. You don't have to be enough of anything. You don't have to have the right words or the right thoughts. You can just come exactly as you are, with everything you're carrying, and let the weight down. Right now. Let it down. Just let the weight of it come off your shoulders. The things you've been holding. The things you've been carrying for so long. You've forgotten what it was like not to carry them. You can put them down. Right here. Right now. And rest. You can rest. The house on the rock. There was a story he told about two men building houses. One man built his house on a rock. He dug deep. He worked carefully. He laid his foundation on solid stone. The other man built his house on sand. It was faster that way. The sand was soft. The digging was easy. The house went up quickly. And then the rains came, and the floods came, and the winds came, and the house on the rock stood, not because nothing hit it, not because the storm went around it. The rain fell on both houses equally. The wind pressed on both houses equally, but the house on the rock stood, because of what it was built on. This story was not really about houses. It was about what you are standing on, what is underneath you when the difficult things come. And the invitation in the story is not an instruction to panic and check your foundations. It is a quiet assurance. If you have heard these words, if you have sat with them, if they have settled into you the way seeds settle into good soil, then there is something solid beneath you, something that the storms cannot move, something that holds when everything else is moving. You can rest on that right now. You don't have to manufacture it. You don't have to create it. You just have to notice that it is there, beneath you, steady and solid and entirely unmovable. The ground beneath the storm, the rock beneath the sand, the stillness beneath the noise, it is there, right now, holding you, and you can let yourself be held by it, completely, without reservation, without holding anything back. Just rest, like a house that has found its rock, just still, just held, just completely and entirely safe. The lost sheep. He told a story about a shepherd with 100 sheep, and one of them wandered off. The shepherd didn't wait and see if the sheep would find its own way home. He didn't shrug and say, 99 is close enough. He left the 99 in a safe place, and he went looking, through the night perhaps, through the rough country, through the dark, and when he found the sheep, he picked it up. He laid it across his shoulders, the warm weight of it, the small heartbeat of it against his chest, and he carried it home, not scolding it, not dragging it, carrying it, all the way home. And when he got home, he called his neighbors and friends and said, "Come and be glad with me. I found my lost sheep." This story was not about sheep. It was about you. About what happens when someone drifts away, or gets lost in the dark, or just can't find their way back. About who comes looking. About what it feels like to be found. That weight across the shepherd's shoulders. That carrying. That is what you are right now. You are being carried. You don't have to navigate your way home tonight. You don't have to figure out the path. You are already on the shepherd's shoulders. You are already being carried. All you have to do is let yourself be there, warm and safe and completely held. Going home, going home. The father who ran. There was another story, a longer one of the most beautiful he ever told. A young man asked his father for his inheritance early, while the father was still alive. and the father gave it to him. The young man went far away and spent everything. He made every wrong choice he could make. He ended up hungry and alone in a distant country, doing the worst work available, wishing he had never left. And then he came to himself. That is the phrase that was written down. He came to himself, as if for a while he had been somewhere else, somewhere outside of his own life, watching it fall apart. And then something shifted, and he came back into himself and saw clearly where he was and what had happened. And he decided to go home. He didn't expect much. He had a speech prepared. He would ask to be taken on as a hired worker, not as a son. That was too much to hope for. Just as a worker. Just to have somewhere to sleep and something to eat. He started walking home. He was still a long way off, and his father saw him. From a long way off, his father saw him, which means his father had been looking, had been watching the road, had been hoping every day that this was the day the shape on the horizon would be his son. And when he recognized him, the father ran. He ran. This detail matters. Fathers in that world didn't run. It was undignified. It was not done. But this father ran. He ran down the road to meet his son. And before the son could even start his prepared speech, the father threw his arms around him and held him and called for a celebration, not because the son had come back having fixed everything, not because the son had repaid what he'd spent, not because the son had earned his way back, just because he was home. That is the story. That is the heart of it. The father running, the embrace before the speech, the celebration before any account was settled. You don't have to settle any accounts tonight. You don't have to have your speech ready. You don't have to have figured it all out. You can just come as you are, exactly as you are. And there is someone who has been watching the road and who sees you from a long way off, and they're already running. Rest in that, right now. Just rest in the knowledge that you are already seen, already running toward, already embraced before you've said a word. You are home. You can stop walking. You can stop preparing your speech. You can just rest. Right here. You are home. Love one another. On the last evening he spent with his closest friends, before everything became difficult, he said something simple. He said, "Love one another. Love one another the way I have loved you." That is how people will know you belong to something good. Not by the rules you follow, not by the positions you take, not by what you say about yourself, by how you love. He said it quietly, in a room where a lamp was burning and the night was outside. He said it to a small group of people who were confused and tired and didn't entirely understand what was happening. And then he said, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many rooms. I am going to prepare a place for you." And then the thing that has perhaps been repeated more than any other set of words he ever said, "I am leaving you peace. My peace I give to you." Not the kind of peace that the world offers. My peace. Not the peace that depends on circumstances being right. Not the peace that you have to create and maintain through effort. Just peace. Given. My peace I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Do not be afraid. That peace is available to you right now. Not because you have done enough. Not because you are in the right state of mind. Not because you have prayed enough, or believed enough, or been enough of anything. Just because it is offered. Just because those words were spoken and they are still true. My peace I give to you. You can receive it right now. Just breathe it in. Just let it be here in the room with you. Soft and complete and not asking anything of you. Just peace. Resting in you. The way a lamp rests in a quiet room. Just there. Warm and steady. Burning without effort. Peace. Forgive. He spoke about forgiveness often. Not as a difficult thing. not as a mountain to climb, more like an unburdening, something you put down. He said, if you carry resentment, you carry a weight that belongs to someone else. You carry it everywhere. You carry it into every room. You carry it to bed at night. When you forgive, he was not saying that what happened was acceptable. He was saying, you can put this down. You don't have to carry it anymore. The weight of it, the going over and over it, the rehearsing of what was done, the keeping of the account, you can set it all down and walk away lighter. He said, the measure you use to measure others will be measured back to you, not as a threat, as an observation about how the world works, how what you hold on to holds you, how what you release releases you. Forgiveness is not a feeling. It is a decision made again and again, sometimes very slowly, sometimes so slowly that you barely notice it happening. But the direction of it matters. The face turned toward it, the willingness to keep moving in that direction, even when it is hard, even when it is incomplete. Tonight, you don't need to resolve everything. You just need to breathe and let your hands go soft and trust that the things you're carrying can be carried by something larger than you, that you don't have to be the one holding all of it, that you can let some of it go right now, tonight, as you rest. Let your hands go soft. Let whatever you're holding loosen, just a little, just enough to rest. The kingdom of heaven. He spoke often about something he called the kingdom of heaven, not as a place you go after death, as something present, something available, something that works quietly, like yeast in bread dough, spreading through everything without announcement. He said it was like a tiny mustard seed, the smallest of seeds. You plant it in the earth and it disappears. And then slowly, without any drama, it grows and grows and becomes the largest plant in the garden, so that the birds can come and rest in its branches. He was describing something that starts so small you can barely see it, and grows, slowly and quietly and certainly, without noise, without urgency, just growing, the way good things grow, the way trust grows, the way love grows, the way peace grows, when you give it the right conditions, slowly, quietly, in the dark sometimes, without you watching, without you forcing, just growing. Something like that is growing in you right now, even when you are asleep, even when you are not aware of it. Something small and good and entirely alive, growing. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to manage it. You can just rest and trust the growing. The seed knows what to do. It doesn't need your supervision. It just needs the good soil and the right conditions and the quiet and the dark, all of which you have right now, all of which are here. Rest. Let it grow. Be still. There was an evening on the lake. The disciples were in a boat, crossing from one shore to the other. Jesus was with them, asleep in the stern, his head on a cushion. He was exhausted from a long day of speaking to crowds and answering questions and being present for hundreds of people. And he slept. A storm came, not gradually. These lake storms can come quickly, wind funneling down through the surrounding hills, turning the water rough in minutes. The disciples woke Jesus, and he stood up, and he spoke to the wind and the water. Be still, he said, and there was a great calm. We have talked in other stories about this moment, but we are not here to be amazed by the storm calming tonight. We are here to sit with the words, be still, 2 words, spoken to everything that was chaotic and loud and frightening. Be still. You can hear those words spoken to you right now, not to a storm, to the noise inside you, to the thoughts that won't quiet, to the worry that keeps cycling, to the part of you that has been wound up all day. Be still. not as a command that requires effort to obey, as an invitation, as something that is already being offered. The quieting is already available. The calm is already here. You just have to stop fighting the noise and let the stillness in. Be still. Let your body be still. Let your thoughts be still. Let your breath be slow. Let the quiet settle over you the way the calm settled over the lake, all at once, completely, without effort, just still. Just completely and entirely still. The sour. He was sitting in a boat on the lake one morning, the shore lined with people who had gathered to listen, and he told them a story. A farmer went out to scatter seed, he said. Some of the seed fell on the path, where the ground was hard and packed, and the birds came and ate it before it could root. Some fell on rocky ground, where the soil was thin. It sprouted quickly but had no depth, and when the sun came strong, the young plants withered. Some fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and crowded it out. But some fell on good soil, and it grew and grew and produced a harvest many times what was planted. He was talking about words, about the kinds of hearts that receive things and the kinds that can't. But we can rest in the gentler part of the image tonight. The good soil, the seed falling into it, the quiet darkness of the earth closing over it, the seed going down into the dark, knowing nothing, needing nothing, just resting in the good soil, and something happening in the dark, slowly and quietly, that the seed has no say in and no awareness of, just the dark, and the moisture, and the warmth, and the growing that happens without anyone watching. You are like the seed right now, going into the dark of sleep, not needing to do anything, not needing to know anything, just resting in the good soil of this quiet night, and something growing in you, slowly and quietly, while you sleep. Rest that restores, peace that settles, strength that accumulates in the dark. Just let yourself go down into it, into the good dark, into the rest, into the growing. Ask, seek, knock. He said, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. These words have been analyzed and theologized for centuries, but tonight we are not analyzing them. We are just sitting with the quality of them, the simplicity. Ask, seek, knock. 3 actions so simple that a child can do them, that anyone can do them, without training, without qualification, without a particular state of mind. Just ask. And then he said something that made those 3 actions very clear. He said, which of you, if your child asked for bread, would give them a stone? Which of you, if your child asked for a fish, would give them a snake? The images of a parent and a child, a parent who wants to give, who is not withholding, who is not waiting to be convinced of the child's worthiness, just a parent who wants their child to have what they need. And how much more, he said, will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask? How much more? You can rest in that tonight. You don't have to manufacture anything. You don't have to perform the right kind of asking. You don't have to have the right words. You can just lie here, breathing, heavy and still, and know that you are heard, even when you have no words, even when you are too tired to ask clearly, even in the quiet of this moment, when you're almost already asleep, you are heard, and there's a parent who wants to give, who is not withholding, who is already leaning toward you, already listening. Rest. You are heard. You are known. You are loved. Rest. Section 4. Slow reflection and rest. Everything slows. Now. We are going to slow down even further now. There's nowhere to go. Nothing more to cover. No more stories to follow. Just this. Just the soft drift of everything you have heard tonight. settling down through you like silt, settling through water, not rushing, not pressing, just settling, finding its way down to the still places, the deep, quiet places where things rest. You have been in so many beautiful places tonight, on the hillside above the lake, in the cool morning air of Capernaum, on the shore where the small waves came in the boat on the still water. All of those places are still there. They're not going anywhere. The lake is still there. The hillside is still there. The wildflowers are still there. And the words are still there, resting quietly in the air. Do not be afraid. You are known. Come to me and rest. My peace I give to you. You don't have to hold any of them. They don't need you to hold them. They are holding themselves, and they are holding you. You just need to breathe and be still and let yourself go where sleep is waiting. The lake at night, imagine the Sea of Galilee at night. The villages around its shore are dark. The fishing boats are out, their single lights moving slowly on the black water, far from shore. The hills on all sides are dark shapes against a sky that is full of stars. Not the washed out, city-dimmed stars we see today. Real stars. Ancient stars. Uncountable. The Milky Way arching from horizon to horizon like a slow river of light. The water of the lake reflecting all of it. Stars above and stars below. The boat floating between them. The night sounds of the Galilean countryside. Crickets in the long grass near the shore. A distant bird. The very quiet sound of the water against the pebbles. And somewhere on the hillside above Capernaum, in the small room of a simple house built from black basalt stone, someone is sleeping, just sleeping, with the same depth and ease that he slept in the stern of the boat, rocked by the water, the cushion beneath his head, trusting the night, trusting the stillness, trusting the thing that holds the world while the world sleeps. You can sleep like that tonight, with that depth, with that ease, trusting the night to do its work, trusting the stillness to hold you, trusting, just trusting, and sleeping, just sleeping. The wildflowers in the dark, right now, somewhere on the hillside above the Sea of Galilee, the wildflowers are growing, in the dark, without any effort, without anyone watching. The red anemones, the small white ones, the pale blue ones that open when the sun comes, all of them resting in the dark, in the good soil, in the moisture from the rain, growing as they grow without effort or worry or planning. They will be beautiful in the morning. They are beautiful right now, even in the dark where no one can see them, just being exactly what they are, just growing, just resting in the goodness of the soil. You are like those flowers tonight, being exactly what you are, resting in something that wants to nourish you, growing without effort, without watching, without worrying, just rest. Just let the goodness of the night do what goodness does, without your help, without your management. Just rest and grow in the quiet, in the dark, in the safe, held, warm dark. The words that stay. There are some words that stay with you, long after you've heard them, long after the conversation is over, long after the hillside has emptied and the people have gone home. The words stay. They settle into the walls of you, the way warmth settles into stone after a long summer day. Still there, still warm. Hours later, after the sun has gone, the words of tonight are like that. They have settled into you. You don't need to remember them. You don't need to hold them. They are holding themselves, and they are holding you. Do not be afraid. You are known. Not one sparrow is forgotten. My peace I give to you. Come to me and rest. Blessed are the gentle. Blessed are those who long for goodness. The father saw his son from a long way off and ran. Ask and it will be given. Seek and you will find. The seed in the good soil grows in the dark. The birds are fed. The flowers are clothed. You are worth so much more. Let yourself be held by these words now, not as things to think about, just as something warm and present in the room with you, like a lamp, like a fire, like the warmth in a basalt stone at the end of a summer day. Just there, just warm, just present, and you, resting in them, completely, all the way, drifting. You're drifting now, I can tell. The thoughts are softer now, less like sentences and more like images, less like things to follow and more like things to watch from a distance. The hillside, the lake, the wildflowers, the water reflecting the stars, the small fire on the shore, the soft voice that has been speaking all night. These are just images now, moving gently, like clouds, like the surface of the lake on a still morning, just drifting. You don't have to hold any of them. You don't have to go back and get the ones you missed. They are all there. They will all be there. You can let them drift and drift with them down into the warm stillness, into the quiet where there are no more thoughts, where there is just the soft dark and the warmth and the sound of breathing. Your own breath, slow and even, the sound of a resting body, the sound of peace. Just this, just this, just this, the still small voice. There was a story in the old writings, long before Jesus, about a prophet who was so exhausted and so frightened that he hid in a cave and asked to die. And there was a great wind, and an earthquake, and a fire. But God was not in any of those loud things. And after the fire, a still small voice, a sound of sheer silence. Some translations say, a gentle, quiet sound. And the prophet came out of the cave. That is the voice that has been speaking all night. Not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, in the still small sound, in the quiet, in the space between words, in the breathing, in the warmth of the room, in the slow rocking of a body beginning to sleep. That voice is still here. It has been here the whole time. It doesn't need you to chase it or grasp it or make sure you didn't miss it. It will be here when you wake. It was here before you came. It is the sound that is underneath everything. The quiet that holds the noise, the stillness that holds the movement, the rest that holds the waking. You are in it right now. You have always been in it. Just breathe and let yourself sink into it. Deeper, deeper, all the way down. Into the still, into the quiet, into the rest that was made for you, into the peace that passes understanding, into sleep. Nothing left to do. There is nothing left to do tonight. Nothing to figure out. Nothing to plan. Nothing to go over one more time. Nothing to hold. Nothing to fix. Nothing to wait for. This day is complete. Whatever it held it. Whatever you did it. Whatever you didn't do can wait. Everything waits patiently for morning except this rest. This is what tonight is for. This is what your body is asking for. This is what the night is built for. Rest. Complete, full, deep, unguarded rest. The kind where every part of you lets go, where the eyes stop moving, where the hands go completely soft, where the jaw unclenches, where the shoulders fall away from the ears, where the breath becomes so slow and so even that you can no longer tell if you're breathing or the breath is breathing you, where the thoughts stop arriving, where the room is just warmth and dark and quiet, where you are just you, resting, held, safe, completely at peace. That is where you're going. That is where you are already, almost. Just the last little bit, the last small thread of waking. Let it go. You don't need it. Let it go and sleep. The story continues. The story is still going on. That is the remarkable thing about these words, about these moments. They are not finished. They didn't close when the last person walked away from the hillside. They are still open, still present, still offering the same things they always offered: rest, peace, the knowledge that you are seen, the knowledge that you are not forgotten, the knowledge that you are held by something that does not get tired of holding you. The story goes on tonight, is going on right now, around you, in the room with you, in the quiet, in the warmth, in the slow, steady sound of your own breathing. You are part of it. You have always been part of it. And it will be here when you wake. The lake will still be there. The hillside will still be there. The wildflowers will still be there. The words will still be there. You don't have to hold any of it. Just rest. Just sleep. The story doesn't need you to stay awake for it. It keeps going on its own. It has always kept going on its own. Just sleep. Let the story go on without you for a while. It will be here when you come back. It always is. Good night, good night. You are safe. You are held. You are known. You are loved. Rest. The lake is still. The hillside is quiet. The wildflowers are growing in the dark. The stars are above the water. And everything is being held by something that does not sleep. Something that watches over you while you rest. Something that has been watching over you your whole life, even when you weren't sure it was there, even when the night felt too long, even when the weight felt too heavy. Still watching, still holding, still present, always, now, tonight, sleep. You are home.